What's going on, Show Nation? It's Movie with Movie Gaming TV. Let me know if I should run a gameplay with this team. I've started to open up some packs and I'm kind of ready to run a gameplay with this team. So let me know if that's something you want to see in the comment section below. But in this video, I'm going to give you all the best settings for MLB The Show 22. I'm able to make this video for the tech test. Might update it when the actual game comes out, but I don't see too much changing in that regard. So let's go ahead and get into the best settings. All right, first and foremost, you're going to come up to the gear icon over here for the settings, and then we're going to go ahead and go to settings. As far as the gameplay goes, let's go through all of these. The hitting difficulty, you can set that on whatever you would like to set that on. I have it on legend personally because that's what I'd like to practice on to get the most out of my practice, but you can set it however you want. The hitting view, now I prefer strike zone. I think that's the easiest one to hit with. And the reason is it just gives you the most zoomed in view to control the mini game of hitting. It just lets you aim that dot on the ball the easiest. If you want a more immersive type of view, I always recommend like MLB The Show. I believe 15 is pretty good. So if you kind of want that zoomed out view, I think MLB The Show 15 is a pretty good view. But if you want like the most competitive comp view for hitting, go ahead and use strike zone. If you want a little bit more zoomed out, use strike zone 2. In-play view offense, I like to use medium. Some people use high. That's probably the most competitive setting. Some people use also dynamic. I personally prefer medium. I think you can see the players pretty well. So if you need to like rob a home run at the wall or something like that, you can see them pretty well. I like to just how it looks, so I go with medium for that. All right, so I got completely thrown for a loop when I was making this video. There are 3 hitting interfaces in this game: zone, directional, and timing. And I've never seen timing before ever. It used to be analog. Now it says it's timing. So that's very interesting. I have not tested out timing at all, but I can tell you this much. Just on the surface, I feel like this is going to be the easiest way to hit. I would almost not even consider using directional. Zone is the best because you're going to move the actual dot to the ball, and that's going to increase your chances of getting hits and all that kind of stuff. Timing seems like it's just going to move it based on RNG towards the ball, but all you have to do is time it. Directional allows you to have a little bit of influence over like that a little bit, but honestly I would probably use this timing if you just want like the simplest experience possible. You're really new to the game, or I'd recommend just using zone where you're just going to aim the dot at the ball. The input type, I would go with buttons. If you're going to go with an analog type, I would go with flick over stride. All you have to do is move the right stick up, but pretty much everyone uses buttons, and pretty much everyone uses the X button. The contact swing is with circle, the normal swing is with X, and the square swing is with power swing. It's pretty much been everyone using the X button, the normal swing, for a long time. I don't know if that's going to change necessarily, but I would anticipate it's going to be pretty much the same. Now the new thing this year is the PCI anchor. I would have this on, and I would have the anchor dots on. Now I have a video that I will link at the end of this video that explains how to set this up consistently, but it's going to be a nice thing to use. I would keep your PCI, your plate coverage indicator, on. That's basically the dot, so just go ahead and keep that on. Now here's how I like to set it up the most. I like to use the PCI center, either the diamonds or the circles. That's just what I like. I don't use the inner, I don't use the outer. The color, it doesn't really matter, it's up to you. This transparency, I would go either like 60 or 70%, so it kind of blends through. Even 60 might be better. You can put on the inner and the outer. I'm going to do the fade out of none because I'm not even going to have the inner or the outer on. I just like the diamonds. I just like the dots in the middle because that's really all I need. Is I just want to try to put the dot on the ball. That keeps it really simple in my opinion. I think it helps as you go up in different difficulties also, because it always just kind of looks the same, and that's really what you need to do at the end of the day. So that's how I recommend that you set your PCI up, but you can do it in any way that you'd like. As far as advanced, I go with guess pitch off. Base running decisions, if you don't want to run the bases, you can set it to auto, but I prefer just assist. I'll just control that myself. The interface, there's default and then there's classic. Classic, you kind of use the face buttons on the controller to select the bases, whereas default you use like the left stick and the face buttons to decide where you want to send the base runner. So I leave it on default. Some people that have been playing for a really long time, they use classic, but I prefer default. And then sliding decisions, you either got assists on I'm gonna go with assist personally, because you can make different kind of slides with the right stick. And then runner windows, I'll just go ahead and leave those on as well. All right, for pitching, again, you can set the difficulty to whatever you would like. These are the different pitching interfaces. I have tutorials on my channel. Just type in Movie Gaming TV Pinpoint. I'll teach you how to use Pinpoint. Pinpoint is by far the best one if you are willing to be competitive, because it will literally let you throw dots left and right. Like, once you get down the motions, it's by far the best one to use, the most consistent one. Meter is very friendly to a lot of people. It's very similar to like a golf game. It goes up, it goes down, you hit the button at the right time. That's the meter. Classic, all you're literally doing is you're picking the spot of the pitch, and then it just goes based on RNG. Pure analog, you're gonna go down on a meter and then back up to a hoop. It's pretty easy to do, but it might take a little bit of practice. This used to be the competitive mode until they introduced Pinpoint last year, and now that's kind of not a thing anymore, so not many people are using that. Pulse is basically, if you ever played the game like Backyard Baseball, where it goes wide and then it goes in closer, wide, in closer. The closer that you time it to when it goes, like the circle reduces, that's when you can have the best results with Pulse. Some people like to use that. I prefer Pinpoint. I'm gonna go with Pinpoint. Pitch feedback, I'll go with on. Pitching view, I'm gonna go with strike zone. I just like this one the best because I can see where I'm gonna spot the pitches the best, and I get to read it from like how most competitive players are hitting. If you're not gonna use strike zone, I think if you want like a more zoomed out one, again, MLB the Show 15 is a really good one to use. If you want one from like behind the pitcher, you can always try out like pitcher center, pitcher offset. I think both of those are pretty popular. Outfield is another popular one. So see which ones that you want. It's not as important as the hitting camera, but I prefer to use strike zone. Another reason I like to use strike zone also is I can kind of control the running game as the catcher. I can see if someone's stealing a lot easier. So I like strike zone the most. Pitching ball marker, I tend to leave this as pitch trail on. There's no real need for me to have it fade away. I really think it's the best to just have the pitch trail on. Definitely have the pitch confidence on. If your pitcher's confidence goes down, you're going to want to know that. It's time to go to the bullpen if it's going way down and they're getting low on energy. Pitch delay, I'm going to go faster. I like to just play as fast as possible, so I'm going to go faster. API, you can set this to on, off, or default. It only works versus the CPU, but personally I am just going to I might even just leave it off. I really don't need to have the catcher give me suggestions. If you want them on, you can have them on. You don't necessarily need to throw to the catcher's suggestions for it doesn't really do much of anything, so it's kind of up to you whether you want that on or off. All right, for the fielding, I'm gonna go button accuracy. You're just gonna hold the button and let it go within the green window. It's very simple to use. If you want it even simpler, you could use something like buttons, where you're just gonna load up the throw. But honestly, I'm glad that they moved this as the default setting to button accuracy, because it's not very difficult to do. Throwing an interface for Road to the Show, I probably would go button accuracy on this one as well. The throwing meter, keep that on. Fielding decision, I would go with assist. If you don't want to do any fielding, you can put it on auto. Again, the auto fielding and the auto base running, I should say, that's only going to work against the computer. If you go online, you have to use assist. Throwing decision, it's the same thing. I'm just going to leave it off. Like, I'm not going to have the computer just throw it for me. In play view defense, I have it on medium. I know I gave a big breakdown. It was more for like an offensive side, but it's the same thing on defense. I want to be able to rob home runs and kind of read everything better, so I like to do that. Throw canceling, leave on. All you got to do is double tap the button. So say you're throwing it to second base and you wanted to cancel the throw, you would hit triangle to throw it to second base, and then you would double tap triangle. So hit triangle again, that will cancel the throw to second base. One button dive jump, I don't like to have this on. I'd like to keep that off. Keep the auto infield jump and dive on. I like to have those on. So the catch position indicator, they got trackball on, drifting ball. I like to use drifting ball the most. This is like the new one that they have is trackball. It kind of has like a rectangle, a blue rectangle. I like the drifting ball. Just get to the back of the baseball. That's the old school one. I think it's easier to use. Defensive shift, I actually like to keep that on manual. There are a lot of times in this game people will be late and go against the shift and accidentally hit a double against you. So I personally like to keep it on manual. If I want to shift, if I want to bring in bunt defense or something like that, I will do that manually. I don't like to really run the ships. I just kind of like to have the basic alignment for everybody out there. Off the wall ribbon, you might as well turn on as well. It's just going to show you where the ball is going to bounce once it hits off the wall. So really, why not have that one on? Your gameplay style, you can select whatever you want. I have mine on competitive. You got casual and simulation. I just leave mine on competitive. Fielding aids, if you want more information on like what route to take and all that stuff when you're playing offline, you can turn those on. I'm just going to turn them off for now. Player name display, I'm going to turn on. Strike zone on. Hot zones, I'm going to turn on. Wind, I'm going to keep off because you do not want the wind blowing in when you're trying to hit. But again, this is an offline setting as well. Warm up relievers, I'm going to turn that off. I don't want to have to mess with warming up the relievers. That's just a part of the immersion that I don't want to deal with, so I'm turning that off. Dynamic difficulty updates, you can keep that on new level. Vertical camera movement, I'm gonna keep those standard for both of those, and then tutorial tips, you can turn those on if you want. I'm gonna keep mine off. Post game autosave, I'm gonna leave that on. Scorebar display, I'm gonna keep that on. Pitch select display, I'm gonna keep that on. Gonna keep box off, that's really important, I think, as well. Umpire accuracy, I'll leave as perfect. Check swing appeals, I didn't know you could turn those on or off. I guess I'm gonna keep those on. And then ejections, I will keep those on as well. I'm actually gonna turn the vibration off personally. I don't like to have the vibration on when I'm playing PlayStation games. I already have it off by default on my controller, but I'm gonna go ahead and turn that off. I just think it makes it a little bit easier to play, but that's up to you if you want to keep that on. All right, two things to look at really quick. Also, our presentation. I recommend that you put the presentation mode in fast play. It just makes it go the fastest. And I like to turn off the pitch selection cameras. I like to have those off. So that's a big thing for me too, to have those off. And then when you have them off, it just pretty much null and voids these other two things right here. Batter walk up, I keep on. In-game ticker, I keep on. And then closed captioning, I keep off. This is the way I like to set up my audio as well. I don't like to hear the commentary. I don't like to hear the player yells. The PA volume, I go all the way low. The volume for the music, I go all the way low. I keep my sound effects like about 40%. And I turn the crowd off. Those are just all personal preference. I mean, if you want to have them on, you can. I just find the crowd kind of distracting, the commentary kind of distracting. I don't need the PA volume or the music, so that's the way I roll with those. So those are all the best settings for MLB The Show 22. Let me know if you try out the timing. That's definitely a new thing. I had like pause mid-video and literally put a tweet out on Twitter about that because I'd never seen anything like that before. Anyways, thank you so much for watching. Check out the PCI Anchor video that is on the screen now. If you have not downloaded the tech test either, I'm going to put that video on the screen now as well. And then finally, if you have not seen my breakdown on the co-op mode, everything that you need to know about co-op mode, that video is going to be on the screen now. And let me know also in the comment section if you want to see me record a gameplay video with this team, because I'm trying to have more gameplay videos, but I know you guys like the tips videos out there, so I'm putting that out there. All right, thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Until then, peace out.